Hi, my loves. What a beautiful, amazing day, and a chance for us to shift the entire universe with our energy coming from within. And for this reason, I'm wanting to share some messages that I had from my journey last night in order to give you some food for thought. Yeah, on a day where we can all be really focused and obsessed with other things. So here we go. So one of the main messages that I got last night was to treat our mothers and fathers and daughters and sons like brothers and sisters. So stay with me here. There is this perpetuation on the earth plane to be the energy of a mother or a father. And when we identify with the energy of a mother or a father, we end up being mothers to everyone, right? We're not just mothers to our children. We end up being mothers and playing the role of a mother and the mother energy to our partners. We end up playing the role of mother to our parents, yeah? Mother to our friends. And the same thing for those who have perpetuated the identifying with the role of the father, playing the role of the father to the parents, playing the role of the father not only to the children, but to the brothers and sisters, playing the role of the father to the friends. And so the message from the mushroom was that we're to see and cultivate a relationship with ourselves that allows us to feel equal to everyone. Yeah, that allows us to feel equal like a brother and sister to each of the roles that we have identified in our society. What that looks like is we're seeing our parents as brothers and sisters, like an older brother and sister. Hi, Julie. Hi, Bill. What would it feel like to see your parents as an older brother and sister? Well, it would look like them not having authority over us. It would look like them not having hold on our decision-making process. It would look like us living our lives without taking a second thought at what our parents would think, how they would react, or how they would judge us, or whether they would accept us, right? It would cause us to look at them and as equals also from the opposite angle. It would cause us to realize that they're human too. It would cause us to realize that they're growing up and they're existing in this world as well, and that they're human beings, right? That there are brothers and sisters. And so we have a level of care for them. It doesn't mean don't care for them, but it means don't take on the responsibility of their life is in our hands. Same with our children. What does it look like for us to treat our children as brothers and sisters? That's a question to ask yourself in your next journaling or your next medicine ceremony. What would it look like for me to treat my children as little brothers and sisters? Like humans that are just not quite grown yet, but that I have no authority over. None. No authority. Yeah? What would it look like if when my child popped out of my womb, I thought, this is another brother and sister spirit that I had the opportunity, that chose to come through me, that I had the opportunity to care for and nurture as an equal, that has equal say in my household, that has equal say as far as their feelings, that has equal space to be upset, to make decisions, to create their own thought processes, to have opinions, to not think the way that I think. Yeah? Now, here's the question. So how do I think about my partner? Hi, Ashley. Good to see you. How do I think about my partner if I'm to think of my parents as brothers and sisters, my children as brothers and sisters, my friends as brothers and sisters? How am I then to think about my partner? Well, the spirits of the medicine said you're to think of your partner as yourself. And of course, like on some level, we're to think of everyone as ourselves, right? But in this case, it's a literal sense, right? We have the divine feminine and the divine masculine within each of us. And as we develop these essences, the essence of who we believe the divine masculine is within me. I'll use myself as an example. As I develop the divine masculine within me, and I threw out the divine masculine as someone egotistical, someone who doesn't pay attention to me, someone who, I shifted these old paradigm beliefs about what the masculine is, right? And now my partner will feel immediately like a direct mirrored reflection of me. And of course, we all know the process, right? When you first meet someone that you feel is a potential partner, you feel like you know them. The fact is you do. And it's not just this idea of a past life connection in a romantic way. It's, I know you because I created you. Because you are a direct reflection and mirror of who I've created this either feminine or masculine essence within me to be. And that's why no matter who you're with, you don't have to leave them. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Because as you do that inner work and as you develop and change and shift your idea of what that masculine or that feminine looks like and what your interaction and your dynamic is between your masculine and feminine, your relationship will reflect that every single time. Period. So, another thing about that is to take off the weight of the partnership, right? So many of us, especially when we go into partnership, feeling like we're perpetuating that role of a mother or a father for our partner. Fuck that, right? That's a lot of responsibility that the spirits are saying no one should be taking on. Your son, your daughter, your mother, your father's connected directly to the divine. And when you take on that responsibility for them, you're disempowering them. You're not saying namaste. You're not saying, I know that God has you. You're saying, I have you. That's fucked up and controlling, right? So when we flow into a partnership in that way, same idea. You're not responsible for your partner. Your partner's not responsible for you. You're responsible for you. So here's the next element to that. So if I wouldn't want myself to worry about myself, then I'm not to expect my partner to worry about me. Yeah, this is, again, that element of treating your partner as yourself. If I don't want myself to have to care about it or to have the burden, then I'm not to want or expect my partner to care about it or have a burden about it. And so many times we're trying to manipulate other people into caring about what we care about just as much. And if you're my partner, you need to care about dolphins too. If you're my partner, you need to care about the homeless just as much as I do. And some people, it can be things that seem trivial. Right, for my own father, he's got this German background and he's like real big on treating material things in a certain way, right? Like, you can't close the blinds like that. Like, you can't shut the door, the car door like that. It's gonna ruin it. Like, you can't do that to the carpet. He really deeply cares about those things. So if I were to come up and be like, it's not a big deal, he would be like, like real feelings hurt, right? And I know you have someone like that in your experience, and maybe it's you. What do you expect your partner or people in your lives to care about? But that is codependency, right? That's not the energy that the spirits are asking us to bring into our relationships. So when someone says they don't care about what you care about, Don't make it mean that they don't care about you. And clarify that in your conversation until you can shift in your mind and be programmed that way. In other words, if you're like you let's say your husband didn't come home to dinner on time, and you're like, oh my God, like, why don't you care, about coming home to dinner on time? Like, don't you care about my food? And your husband's like, I actually don't care, whether we eat at exactly 6 p.m. or not. Well, then what you can say in response to that, in order to clarify the relationship, is, are you saying that you don't care about me? And your husband's going to be like, oh my God, no, honey, of course I care about you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I can eat whenever, and that's okay, right? So we're meant to continue to ask these questions in order to clarify that the story in our head is not true, that the story and the narrative that we're running in our head is not true. Yeah? Okay, this is really powerful. So I'm running women's groups every so often, and in January I'll be running a group called Playfulness and Pleasure, Reclaiming the Lost Art of the Awakened Goddess. And I was shown to say directly and open up each meeting with these women. I was told to say, we are sisters. I am not your mother. We are sisters. I am not your mother. And what it does, not only does it create a level of equality and just beautiful harmony and vulnerability within a group of women, but what it looks like is it gives me freedom as the facilitator to make mistakes. Yeah? It gives me freedom as the facilitator to not be in charge of the way people feel, to not take on the responsibility of how people react to my work. So think about that in the work that you're doing with your students, with your clients, with your friends, with your family. Take yourself out of that role of mother and father and open yourself up to, I can be playful. I don't have to be responsible right now. Give yourself the freedom. Open yourself back up to that freedom, yeah? Okay, so this is incredible. This was so powerful for me. They said for us to ask the question, what am I going to do now if I'm not taking care of everybody? What am I going to do now if I'm not taking care of everyone? Don't even think about it just on the macro level or on the mid-macro level where you're like just taking care of your family and your middle group. Think about how you feel about, I have to save the world, I have to take care of the world, I have to take care of the planet, I have to take care of the species. But then also think about it on the mini-micro level of yourself. What would I do now? What am I going to do now if I don't have to take care of me? Feel into the parts of you that have felt stress and a burden because of what it takes to take care of yourself. And what the spirits said to me is that they're taking care of us. And the spirits of the mushroom, hi Henry, good to see you. The spirits of the mushroom are male. Isn't that interesting? The spirits of the mushroom are male. And they said, we're taking care of you. And I couldn't comprehend that. I couldn't. Because I'm programmed, or I was programmed, that women are here to serve men. I grew up serving my father like I don't think anybody in this day and age serves their men except for in the past generation. And I still to this day will make sure that my father's fed and make sure he's got his clean clothes, make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I grew up. And a lot of us are programmed that way, that it is the woman to serve the man. But here's the problem with that. Here's the problem. we're also programmed that God is a male. So if we're programmed as women that men don't take care of us and that God is a man, we're programmed that God doesn't take care of us. So we're left with the burden that we have to take care of not only ourselves, not only our husbands, not only our family, not only the world, but the whole universe. Because God doesn't have our back. Now, some of you are not programmed this way. Some of you grew up with programming that men do take care of you, that men nurture you, that men hold space for you. And I love that. But I want you to be aware of the possibility that there's a need for a shift, to know that men are here to hold space for us and to protect us. And here's the thing about protection. Protection is not just physical protection. Protection is honoring your fucking boundaries. Emotionally and energetically. So even if a man touches you and you don't, and society would say that's not wrong, if you energetically and emotionally feel that it's wrong and it's crossed your boundaries, then they're not protecting you. Now, the men in my life that I choose to have in my circle are fucking protectors. Fuck yeah. The men watching this video right now are protectors. The real deal. They honor and understand and know my energetic boundaries. And that's what the spirits of the medicine taught me last night. They didn't push me at all. They let me be in charge of my journey. And they said, this is all up to you. We're just here to serve you. We're just here to protect you, to cause you to feel safe, so that you can be who you really are. So what would it feel like to be taken care of by a man? Ask yourself that question. And I'm not just talking about women. Men, I'm talking to you too. What would it feel like to be taken care of by your brothers? What would it feel like to know a God that takes care of you? To know a divine that takes care of you? Okay. This is specifically for women who have had issues bearing children. And so listen, men, please, especially if you have a woman in your life or a friend or a family member who has had issues bearing children. And this is quick and easy, but also profound. So they're saying that it's okay for us as women who haven't had children and who are wanting children to release the attachment to motherhood, right? We talked about that in the beginning, about like for us to just see ourselves as a vessel of the bringing in of our brothers and sisters, right? But they're also talking to us about this feeling a need to feel that it's okay for our partners to cheat on us and to lay with another. They specifically said lay with another woman because it's a primal thought that was programmed a long time ago in women, that if we are unable to bear children, that we actually have, like it's our duty to let our man lay with another woman so that he can have children of his own. Yeah? So to look at that potential programming within you and to realize that a lot of the fear and the dread and the grief with women who are considered barren or who haven't been able to have children, according to doctors, a lot of that grief is actually in the belief that because of that, their men are not going to be loyal to them, or because of that, they're going to have to dishonor their own boundaries and be made to feel okay with something that doesn't feel okay to them. Does that make sense? And rewind this video in the end if you need more clarification about that, or you can ask questions in the comments. Hi, Liz, good to see you. Okay, this is the next thing, and this is exciting. Everything is alive. Now, I know that we understand that, like on an atomic level, right? Everything is energy, everything is vibrating. But last night, I'm petting my cat. My cat has human eyes last night. Human motherfucking eyes. Not kidding. There's like a human soul, right? Soul inside my cat. And so they showed me all of these inanimate objects. Just like, do you remember the cartoon Beauty and the Beast, where everything comes to life? And almost like every kid's Disney flick where inanimate objects are alive. So they're asking us to be willing to see everything and everybody as alive. So even those that are crossed over, even those that are quote unquote dying, their souls, their spirits are very much alive. Very much alive. Yeah? They're just playing at a different level. They're playing at a different level. They're playing in different fields and different dimensions, but very much alive. And we're to translate this idea into how we see our food. Yeah? We're to see our food as very much alive. And we're to reconcile with our need for things to be dead before we eat them. Yeah? Isn't that interesting? And I'm going to speak to both, vegans and those who are carnivores, because they're showing me that even dead meat is alive energetically, but you have to make it alive. Even leftovers are alive energetically, but you have to make them alive. And stay with me, because there's a trick here. We have this idea like, oh, we can't eat anything alive, like that's cannibalism or that's disgusting, right? But we're actually being called to see our food, like even our tomatoes that we pick from the garden, we're being called to see it as alive while we eat it. Like that it has a spirit and a soul, but as we're consuming it, knowing that that's a choice that it has equally agreed to. That we're not taking away its life will never be taken away. That it's asking to be transformed into a different energetic form. That it's asking to go through this process of transformation. And that it's willing. And that it's having fun whilst that's happening. So when you go into your fridge today and you see those carrots, like have a conversation with them and know and program that your food loves you back. That's really important. Be like, allow yourself to feel that your food loves you. Not just that you love your food, but that your food loves you. So when you consume it, you're feeling like you're consuming love. How amazing is that? And of course, we know to do the same process with water, right? To allow water to take on that same energy. So here's the thing about that. Think about leftovers. Yeah, we're always talking about how leftovers, they don't have as much energy, they're not as alive, like to throw the leftovers out. But there's this misconception about that. It's not that the food is more dead the more time it spends in your refrigerator, okay? It's that it's dead to you. It's that you've lost interest in it. It's that it's become the energy of passé for you. And we're not to go back to anything that feels dead to us. It's not about the state of the food or how it looks. It's about how it feels to us. Are you like, oh man, I have to eat this because I don't want to waste food? That's dead food. But sometimes leftovers get better with time, right? If you make a homemade soup, the second day, it tastes fucking so much better. If you make a homemade sauce, the second day, it does taste better. And they're saying for those of you who are, have this thing around, not wasting food, to make something different with your food. Yeah? So let's say you are a meat eater and you have, just like we do at Thanksgiving, right? Instead of just having the same turkeys and mashed potatoes the next day, make a turkey sandwich, right? Or if you're a vegan, like if you have like a beautiful power salad that you made one day, make it into a smoothie the next day, or maybe fry it up. They're saying to transform the energy so that it feels new, because new is what makes us feel alive. Don't let it get to the point of this is passé or this energy is dead. Don't consume it then. Yeah? And to translate this alive versus dead and passé into what we're doing, like our daily activities. So they're saying that we keep doing things that feel dead to us, expecting to feel alive. So let's say you have this idea that, I really feel alive, when I go to the river. But let's say you do it every single day. Let's see you're going to the river every single day, and it becomes a feeling of passé. It becomes a feeling of like, I have to do this. Then it's dead to you. Then you need to start to choose different things, because they're saying to even question, Margaret, I see your question and I'm going to get to it. I love you. They're saying even to question going to sleep in your own bed at night, because you feel like the walking fucking dead. When you go to bed at night, when you go into that automated process of get my glass of water, brush my teeth, floss my teeth, go to the bathroom, get, this, get my sleeping mask, uncover my bed, your body is in an automatic, your body's following through with physical automation. Yeah? And you don't feel alive when you're acting like a robot. Sometimes automation is amazing, and we want to automate certain processes, but they're saying to put a cut in your automated processes as often as possible, and to give yourself a choice. So what happened last night is, while I was walking to bed after my ceremony, I gave myself the choice, and I said, you don't have to sleep in your bed. You don't. You don't have to sleep in your bed. You could sleep on the floor in front of the fireplace. You could sleep on the couch. You can sleep in the guest bed. Fuck, you can pitch a tent and sleep outside. You don't have to go into your bed. So start to question your normal processes, and all you have to do, it doesn't mean you to not do them anymore. It just means to have a dialogue with yourself and say, Rach, you don't have to do this cardio video today. You don't. Or say, say, Rach, like, you don't have to do your stretches today. Or even say, you don't have to eat. Rach, you don't have to eat. Like, give yourself that process. Why? Because you're making way to heal your body. Margaret, I swear I'm going to get to yours, and Henry, I'm going to read your comment in a second. I just want to finish up this exact saying. They're saying that disease is a habit. So if we're perpetuating all these habits without putting a stop and shaking us up in a physical way and go, oh shit, I guess I don't have to do that, then you're priming yourself for breaking the habit of disease. And what is a disease a habit of? They're saying disease is a habit of feeling. They're saying it's not a habit of thought. And yes, of course, feelings can often come from thought, but the thoughts themselves are not what cause disease. It's perpetuated feelings that cause disease. So when you feel those cycles of feelings come around that don't feel good, those are the ones you're wanting to anchor, like really stuck, and go like, oh, I got you. You're the feeling that keeps coming around. And dissolve it by feeling fully and completely into it, creating a parameter around it, a boundary, honoring it, loving it, and you'll feel it dissolve. Okay, I'm going to, hi Crystal, welcome. I'm going to look at, Margaret, I did not see your question. I did not read it, and I can't look at it while I'm recording for some reason right now. But I'm going to look at it, and I'll answer it in the questions. I'm sorry, love. Or feel free to type it again, and I'll be watching for it. And Henry says, I feel truly alive when I'm outside walking. Yes, Henry. And make sure that you're questioning your normal route, your normal walking route. And ask yourself, do I want to turn left this time? And I have a feeling you already do that. That's really beautiful. Okay, we're almost to the end. This is perfect because I have a physical therapy appointment. I love you guys so much. Okay, so this is something personal that I want to share with you, but it's going to pose a question. Okay, it's going to pose a question. When they showed me about my feelings, okay, Margaret, thank you, love. When they showed me that I was addicted to sickness, they had showed me in my last journey that I was to now be addicted to life and to radiant health. But last night they showed me that when that neural pathway went down that pathway and asked the question, but we need to get back to my problem. Like I always thought to myself, I can't enjoy my life because I have to get back to the problem and fix it first. And it doesn't have to be sickness in your case. It can be money problems. It can be relationship problems. Right? Like how many times have you been told by society, by your parents, by whoever, that you're not allowed to move forward in your life until you fix this problem? But they're telling me that I keep creating problems because of that perpetuated question of, but what about my problem? Your questions hold more energy than your statements. Your questions hold more energy and more creative power than your statements. So start to really look into what questions you're perpetuating every single day. Yes, you can message me, Henry, absolutely. So what happened last night is they said, instead of perpetuating the question, but we need to go back to my problem and fix my problem. Can we go back to my problem? They said to ask the question, how can I enjoy myself? How can I enjoy myself right now? How can I enjoy myself more, they're saying. How can I enjoy myself more? So now, every single day, I will be asking the question, as much as possible, how can I push the boundary of enjoyment with myself today? And to ask that question, now I'm programmed. When I go back to that question of, but we need to go back to my problems, and what about my problems? What about my problems? Automatically, my neural pathway cuts, and it goes to this question of, how can I enjoy myself more right now? I woke up, same thing. Like I felt myself going back to that old programming, but then I went straight to how can I enjoy myself more? And I thought, I want to get dressed up in my warm clothes and go outside and make some cacao and like just sit outside on my patio. And that's what I did. And I did. I have been enjoying myself, you know? So what happened is when they said that to me, I said, well, I can't enjoy myself. And you know what? They showed me this. And some of you this will really resonate with. They said that I had the belief that it's not okay to enjoy myself in my house. Flashback 30 years, 35 years. As a small child, my mother had fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. And she couldn't handle the noise in the house. she couldn't handle us being playful and excited and being kids in the house. And it's not her wrong. It's not her problem. She's not to blame. She was going through something very hard. And so we had an understanding that we could not enjoy ourselves inside, that we had to take our enjoyment outside. And so now I'm going, holy fuck. That's why for the past 30 motherfucking years, when I walk into a house, my spirit just lowers. Isn't that interesting? So take a look at your programming around where you feel it's okay to enjoy yourself and where you feel it's not. Some of you have programmed that it's not okay to enjoy yourself at work. Yeah? Or it's not okay to enjoy yourself while you're with clients, that you have to be very serious. So take a look, like write in your journal, where do I feel it's not okay to enjoy myself? And I guarantee that where you feel it's not okay to enjoy yourself is where you spend the most time. And so that's a question for you. This is the last thing, and then I need to drive to my appointment. They said that we're perpetuating the question, is there a reason why I shouldn't be with myself? Stay with me. And when you perpetuate questions about yourself, you're asking that same question about others, because the mind only knows itself. So if I'm asking the question, is there a reason why I shouldn't be with myself? I'm asking that about my partner. So it's this feeling of, the energy is this feeling of, is he cheating? Or is he not good enough for me? Or is he an alcoholic and I don't know it? Or is there something that I don't know? Is there a reason why I shouldn't be with him? Like feeling like there's always going to be something in the shadows that's going to come through, that's going to cause me to have to break the relationship and suffer the feeling of loss. And here's the interesting part. That's the same question I was asking about myself. Is there a reason why I shouldn't be with me? And so when I do that, I cause others to reflect that same question back to me because I'm projecting it. And so people in my life are also thinking, is there a reason why I shouldn't be with Rachel? So what to do about that is to reframe the question. And instead of asking, is there a reason why I shouldn't be with myself? To instead ask the question, are there more reasons why I should be with myself? Are there more reasons why I should be with myself? You can already feel your neural pathways making new pathways. Ask yourself that question all day long. Are there more reasons why I should be with myself? Because if you're looking for them, you'll find them. So, summary, ask yourself better questions. Ask yourself questions whose answers you want to hear. I love you so much. You're doing so great at life. Pray for me to get to my appointment on time. Of course, it will happen. I love you. Mwah. And visit me on YouTube, rachelandsebastian.com, and I'll answer your questions in the comments probably in an hour and a half.